Hi everyone, I'm CJ Hart and today I'll be making a mermaid clay figure. That's my reference. I'm going to start with taking this air dry clay and I'm going to start forming a head. There's not much clay in here, I know. I've used this clay on several other projects, so I'll just be using the last of it today. I'm going to start by forming the head, making it nice and round, and then I use the wire to make it smoother. I know there's a cut in the video. I tried making the hair out of clay, it wasn't working out, so I will revisit it later. But right now I'm going to work on the tail and the body. Trying to make sure I have enough clay. Alright, so now I'm going to start forming the tail fins and smoothing out the tail so it's less lumpy. By the way, this is not a tutorial. I'm not really a professional of clay. I do work with it a lot, so I'm showing you what my normal process is. Okay, so now I'm taking this clay and I'm going to start working on the torso part of the mermaid. Right, making sure it's nice and smooth. I'm using wire to smooth out all the lumps. And I noticed that the torso was a little bit bigger than the end of the tail, so I'm using a piece of clay. I'm rolling it out and I'm going to put it around the tail. This way the torso will fit better. Now I'm going to attach the torso to the tail using the stitch method. I learned this in ceramics class. First you start by poking some holes in both pieces and then you wet them to make it stick better. It's a small step, but it's really important if you want to make sure the pieces stay together. By the way, I really struggled getting the clay out of the container because it was starting to get a little bit too hard, so I need to use wire to scoop it out. Alright, now I'm making the arms, and it's all just one piece. You can see I didn't use the stick stitch method this time because the arms were such a small piece, it wasn't necessary. Smoothing her out more. With this clay, you want to make sure not to use too much water, otherwise it will get too mushy and it will become harder to work with. Now I'm working on the neck. And I'll realize later on that the neck is way too small compared to the head, but I decided to make it small anyway. Making sure it's nice and stuck to the arms. And you'll see throughout the video I'm mostly smoothing everything because every time I touch it there's fingerprints in the clay. So I use wire to smooth them out. Alright, now I'm going to try to fix the hair. Start by smoothing her head out. Then I start to get more clay. Now I'm rolling it out to try to make a hairpiece. Gonna attach it and smooth it out. I know it looks rough right now, you just have to trust the process sometimes. I also want to make sure to leave space for the ears and the face. Sorry you can't see right now, I'm just smoothing out her hair and face. And I know you can't see the water cup, but I'm using water to do all this. Again, try not to use too much so that the clay doesn't get too soft. Alright, now I'm going to start working on her ears. I'm kind of making like a triangular shape, and then I'm going to give it like a webbed spiked look. I know they kind of look like duck feet, but it'll look better once I paint it. Using the stick stitch method. Making sure it's on there. Now, notice they're not exactly identical, but I tried my best. Right now I'm adding little lines to kind of look like shoulder straps. Now I'm trying the ear again to make sure it looks at least similar to the first ear. Making sure it's smooth. And then again, I'm using the stick stitch method. Ooh, just dropped it. What I'm using really isn't a stand, it's actually just a rolling pin, but it works. It's just the head is super heavy. Okay, gathering my scraps, and I'm going to start working on the eyes. Oh, I'm giving her a little belly button on the torso, just an extra detail. Alright, now for the eyes. Sometimes I just carve them in straight into the clay, and sometimes I'll just make them have clay to make them stand out more. Redefining those straps. I'm using a nail art tool to do this. These are not clay tools I'm using, by the way. The white things are palette knives, and then I'm using a nail art too for the small details. Alright, continuing to smooth out the face, and now I'm going to start with the mouth. Just drawing like a V shape, and then going back in. I'm dampening the ends of the nail art tool so it glides easy in the clay. Just redefining her mouth more. Now I'm giving her like 2 little nostrils, kind of like Luca from the Pixar movie. She's sort of a half mermaid, half siren hybrid, kind of. I don't know. Alright, now I'm going to start with the eyes, and I'm forming 2 round balls. And I'll realize after my first attempt that they're way too big. You're going to see how big they are. And I was like, yeah, no. So I cut them in half to just make them a little bit smaller. Okay, they're still really big, but that is kind of my style. I usually give all my clay figures really big eyes. The reason I wanted to do a mermaid / siren is, well, the Little Mermaid movie just came out, and then Melanie Martinez's album Deluxe has a song called Milk of the Siren, so just mermaids and sirens have been on my mind. Alright, now I'm going to start adding the details to her eyes. I keep it really simple because, again, I'm not really that good working with clay. But I just kind of want to give her, like, those fish eyes. Sorry you can't really see. This is my first video that I'm filming. I tried giving her eyebrows. I think I ended up scrapping it. Okay, now it's time to attach the head to the body, and you're going to see how disproportionate the head is to the neck. Alright, just moving out her hair. Now it's time. Okay, so you can see just how big it is. So it was too late to make it any smaller, so I'm just going to use the stick stitch method one more time. Make sure the neck and the head are moist. And try to attach it. It was very, very delicate at first, so I was trying really hard to make sure it didn't break. And then I think I took 2 small pieces of clay just to make the head a little bit more stable. Because again, if the clay's too moist, it becomes very mushy. So I just added a little few more pieces of clay. Also squished her head a little bit. There, just move it out and then we're done. This is going to be a 2-part video, and the next part, when she's all dry, I'll paint her. Thanks for watching.